Okay, we're going to get started. Hopefully you've got a pen and paper handy because I'm going to tell you some tests that you should get done throughout the talk and some things that you can take and use that are going to make a big difference. So let's get started. My name's Lorna Vanderhaeg. I'm known as a women's natural health expert. I've been researching and writing on nutritional medicine now for over 40 years. I have a master's of science in nutrition. I have a second degree in biochemistry. I've authored 13 books on nutrition, and I have a new weight loss book coming out shortly. So that'll be exciting to have another book again. And I'm also a mother of 4, and I'm a grandma of 10. So it'll be a fun talk tonight. So what causes rapid aging? Because we're going to talk about aging. And before I do that, let's go back and look at this woman. She has got a thick head of hair. And that's a good indicator that you've got the right nutritional status going on. And she is super fit. So I've tried to do this. It's very, very difficult to do that pose and hold it. And of course, we know that by the time most people are 60 years old in Canada, they're on 2 prescription medications, and it just goes downhill from there. We should be living to be 120, and we're falling far short. The average life expectancy of a woman in Canada is 82, and for men, it's 78. So we are falling far short of our full potential. So what causes rapid aging? Blood sugar imbalance. So I'm going to talk a lot about blood sugar. And, we hear about diabetes type 2. I'm going to tell you about a new kind of diabetes. But blood sugar irregularities are wreaking havoc on our rapid aging in the body. Too many calories. We definitely eat too much. Our gut microbiome is a mess. We have tons of inflammation, which is linked to osteoporosis and heart disease, and of course, pain and arthritis and all the itis conditions. Stress is a big contributor to rapid aging, especially in the skin. And then we have poor nutrition. Everybody thinks they eat well, but we're not getting enough nutrients, especially antioxidants. So this talk is really about what you can do to slow the aging process so that you can live fit and strong well into your 90s and 100. Let's talk about diabetes. So we have diabetes type 1, which is an autoimmune disease. We generally see that start in kids. That's a very different type of diabetes than what I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about type 2 diabetes, which is caused by lifestyle. So anyone who has been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes has it because of the lifestyle, meaning the food choices they make and the lack of exercise choices they make. That's the reason why we get type 2 diabetes. And that one we can reverse fairly quickly with diet and lifestyle. Type 3 diabetes is now a new type of diabetes. It was discovered at Brown University in 2005. And this is the type of diabetes that we call brain diabetes. It is linked to Alzheimer's disease. And insulin is not just produced in the pancreas, it's also produced in the brain. And just to give you a little update, when you eat food, any food, sugar goes into your bloodstream, then your pancreas secretes insulin. Insulin's job is to push that sugar into your cells, the body's cells, where it's burned up like a furnace. What is happening to us today who have what we call pre-diabetes or metabolic syndrome is that we're eating food, the sugar goes in our bloodstream, insulin is secreted, but it's pushing and pushing and pushing and it can't get it into the cell, and then the insulin builds up and builds up. Eventually you become insulin resistant. That means that insulin can't do its job pushing the sugar into the cell, and you develop type 2 diabetes. We used to call it adult onset diabetes. We don't anymore because so many kids have type 2 diabetes. And it's directly linked to weight gain, especially belly fat weight gain, and not enough exercise. So type 3 diabetes occurs when the brain does not secrete enough insulin or develops insulin resistance. There are cells in the brain called microglial cells, and those cells secrete insulin. So those with type 2 diabetes, so if you're on the webinar tonight and you have type 2 diabetes, you have a 65% greater chance of developing Alzheimer's disease. And I'm going to talk about tests later, but you can write this one down. A very important to test is a hemoglobin A1C, and you want it to be below 5%. So let's look at a couple of indicators that you can see on your skin. Having 4 or more skin tags indicates you're a pre-diabetic or have insulin resistance. You may not be diagnosed with diabetes yet, but just to know that skin tags are not just a cosmetic concern, they are directly related and a very good indicator of pre-diabetes and your potential risk of diabetes. I've seen people with diabetes have hundreds of skin tags on their skin. And I'm wearing this blood sugar monitor. I really love it. It's the Libra 2, and you buy it at the pharmacy. Anybody can go get it. You don't need a doctor's prescription. And you don't even feel it when it goes in because it has a little needle, but it's like an acupuncture needle. It's so fine you can't even tell. And it glues onto your skin. It lasts about 14 days. You can shower with it on. It has an app on your phone, and you can monitor your blood sugar. And let me tell you, it will let you know where your blood sugar is at. It gives you warnings. And for those of you who are waking up at 3 in the morning, it may be that you're having a blood sugar crash. So wearing one of these blood sugar monitors will give you a really good indicator. And while you're wearing it, you might want to start writing down, what did I eat today? So get yourself a little booklet, write everything you eat, and then correlate it to what your blood sugar numbers are. And you know, you really want to have your blood sugar in a mid-range between 4 and 8. When it goes way up too high or way too low, this is telling you that you've got dysregulated blood sugar. And you know, one thing we should know is that cancer loves elevated blood sugar. So keeping your blood sugar in the right range is a good thing, and reduce your alcohol intake. And I'm going to talk about food in a minute. This is a US chart, but it pretty much parallels Canada as well. In 2011, there were less than 30% of people in the US who were diagnosed as obese and have diabetes. And in 2023, you can see that it's over 50% of people who are suffering with diabetes and obesity. And look at California. It's not affected as much. And that's because it's warmer. So people are walking, they're outside, and their diets are obviously different. In the United States, 1 in 5 children and 2 in 5 adults are obese. So we're going to talk about weight, because all those extra pounds we pack on are really cutting our lifespan. And then you've probably heard a lot about Ozempic and Rybelsus and Wegovy, all these GLP-1 drugs, but most people don't really know what they are and what they mean. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what is a GLP-1. So GLP-1s are glucagon-like peptides. This is a hormone. It's a gastrointestinal peptide hormone that secretes naturally in response to food intake in the intestinal tract that stimulates insulin release. GLP-1 receptor agonists are the drugs. Those are the injectable or oral drugs that mimic the action of GLP-1, and they're used to treat obesity and type 2 diabetes. They're expensive. And today, a lot of people are taking them for weight loss. The most common side effects are no appetite, vomiting, diarrhea, and extreme nausea. So of course, you're not going to feel like eating if you have that. Long term, and one of the things that I found really interesting when I was putting this presentation together is that 30% of people on the GLP-1 drugs don't lose weight. So I talked about the most common side effects, but some of the more serious ones are muscle loss. And we call it sarcopenia, but you need your muscles. They are part of the entire system in the body, and your muscles keep you young. So when you start to develop sarcopenia, that's when your skin is sagging, you're all humped over, you don't have any strength. this is what rapidly ages us. So we don't want to have, we don't want to use these GLP-1 drugs unless we have to, because they create muscle loss. They also cause increased heart rate, stomach upset, pancreatitis, as well as gallstone attacks, medullary thyroid cancer, kidney injury, and a worsening of diabetic retinopathy. So that's problems with your eyes. So let's talk about a new product that's out there. It's not in the market yet, but it's going to be available shortly. It's called LepiTrim. And this is a natural ingredient. It contains certain highly viscous polysaccharides and fatty acids. And they did an 8-week study. And what was really cool about this is they had people go into a DEXA scan. Now, a DEXA is where you can find out how much bone you have, how much fat, and how much muscle. It actually shows your fat pads, your muscle, and your bone in the DEXA. A lot of women already know about this because they've had a DEXA to diagnose osteopenia or osteoporosis. But the reason why they used this is because they wanted to prove that LepiTrim did not cause muscle wasting like GLP-1 drugs. And so what they found was a 20.2 pound weight loss in 8 weeks. That's 2.5 pounds of weight loss versus placebo per week, over the double the weight loss of diet and exercise alone. So these people were on a 1,500 calorie a day diet, which is a lot of food, in my opinion. And they were also exercising. And they compared them to people who were eating a 1,500 calorie a day diet and exercising. And they gave them LepiTrim. And in 8 weeks, the people on the LepiTrim lost 20.2 pounds. They had double the fat loss than the group that wasn't getting LepiTrim, so 21.3 pounds of fat. How do we know it was fat? Based on the DEXA scan, it actually showed the fat that shows up on that scan was disappearing. So people lost more fat. They lost 3.9 inches on their waist, and 100% of the weight was due to fat loss. They didn't lose any muscle, which is very important because if the more muscle you have, the more fat you'll lose. So that's why guys tend to have, they have a lot more muscle generally than women do in their muscle to fat ratio. And there were no side effects. People did not have all these side effects of the GLP-1 drugs. And this product will be released shortly, so stay tuned because I will send out an email when it's available. And it also has a great effect on the gut microbiome and also on the hormones in the body. So some of the hormones like adiponectin, leptin, serotonin as well. So let's talk about the gut microbiome. We now know that long before people get diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, they start having gut issues, a lot of burping and bloating, especially bloating, constipation, just feeling generally really crummy in the gut. We know that your digestive system, so that's everything from your mouth to your butt, has a microbiome. So what does that mean? It has its own group of good, healthy bacteria, and of course, bad bacteria. There's always a war going on in there to keep the good bacteria high and overtake the bad bacteria. Because remember, we're eating things. We're also eating different kinds of bacteria and fungi and pesticides and other invaders that the body has to deal with. We know that when your gut microbiome is not good, that you get depressed, you have more dental cavities, you get cardiovascular disease, asthma, allergies, arthritis, IBS, Crohn's, colitis. Your skin doesn't look good. I mean, remember that microbiome in that gut is everything from your mouth to your butt. So really the skin is an extension of that tube that goes through the body. We get obese, we have diabetes, we get infections like candida infections, vaginal infections. And so it's very, very important that we look at how do we get our gut microbiome fixed. And almost twice as many women as men suffer from digestive health issues than men do. And that's quite interesting, isn't it? That the guys don't really have the same kind of gut problems. 62% of people worldwide suffer from digestive complaints, mainly constipation, and diarrhea. And we're going to talk about how to get really great bowel movements. 95% of your serotonin is your happy hormone, and it is produced in the gut. And then the gut travels it to the brain. So when you have gut problems, this is why you can also get depressed, have mood swings, just feel lethargic, no energy. And 70% of your immune system is located in your gut. So that is why it's so important we get the gut working properly. So not all fibers are good fibers. You know, whenever I see products that have psyllium in them, which is just so incredibly harsh on the digestive system, you want to have a prebiotic fiber. And most people have heard about probiotics, but very few people have heard about prebiotics. Prebiotics are the fiber that feeds the probiotics. So if you don't have enough prebiotics in your gut, your probiotics can't grow. And that's why I get a lot of people who say to me, I went on a probiotic, it didn't make any difference. Well, A, the probiotic might not have been alive, and it has to be alive, or you didn't have enough prebiotics in your gut to feed your probiotics. And so I want you to look at a particular prebiotic fiber that's called B regular. And what does it do in the body? It's got so much clinical evidence. It's absolutely wonderful to read all the clinical studies. It enhances a very important good bacteria called bifidobacterium. You want to have lots of that in your gut. It reduces blood sugar. It improves the absorption of nutrients in your gut. It also helps aid serotonin, that happy hormone I was talking about, reduces inflammation, supports the immune system in the gut. It also creates short chain fatty acids, which are really important for our brain. This helps with fatty liver, decreases cholesterol, treats obesity, because we got to get those good guys in copious amounts so they can fight the bad guys. And how do we do that? Well, you want to take B regular every day, which contains 5 grams of prebiotics and 8 billion probiotics. And it goes clear in water. Well, almost clear. I mean, you can tell it's there, but it doesn't create any glop. So it's not gloopy like some of the other fibers. It's clear. It has no taste. It's got no grit. It doesn't cause gas and bloating. It's a true regulating fiber. So if you have constipation, it makes your bowel movements great. If you have diarrhea, it makes them regular. And one of the things you want to do is eat a variety of vegetables and fruits, fermented foods, and nuts and seeds. You want live food, not packaged. And dirt is good. The one thing we know is that you create much more diversity in your gut if you eat a little bit of dirt. So dirt is good for us. You know, when we were kids, we used to go out in my mom's garden and pull the carrots out and brush them off and eat them. And that was good because that created a lot of good guys in your digestive tract. And you want to have a variety. Most of us eat the same 7 meals on rotate every week. You know, fish night on Friday, pasta night on Monday. We eat the same foods over and over and over again. That does not create enough diversity in the gut. Antibiotics are also a big problem. Only take an antibiotic if you have a bacterial infection. We go to the doctor, they swab our throat, they write a prescription for an antibiotic. We go home, we start taking it. We don't even know if we have a bacterial infection. We might have a virus. Antibiotics do not work against viruses. And just so you know, if you take around a prescription antibiotics, it takes 2 months to recover your gut microbiome, but it never goes back to its original state. It is less diverse. Remember, you want to have a lot of good bacteria in your gut. You don't want to have them be less diverse. And this can lead to leaky gut, bloating, pain, autoimmune condition, increased allergies, asthma, a whole host of conditions. So only take an antibiotic when you have a bacterial infection. Just wait until they get you back that swab result and tell you if you've got a virus or a bacteria. So let's just talk a little bit more about prebiotics. They're a special form of undigestible plant fiber that acts as food for the good bacteria in your gut. And prebiotics are great because they can survive heat and cold, acid in your stomach. They go way back in the back of the gut for anyone who has SIBO or those really difficult gut disorders. Probiotics are live. And my favorite live probiotic is called BioK. And you buy it in the refrigerator section of the grocery store or the health food store. And it comes in little pots. And I buy them in a pack of 6. And once a month, I take one a day for 6 days, just to give more diversity of the good guys in my gut. But probiotics are more fragile, they're vulnerable to heat. So if you went and bought your probiotics in capsules and left them in your car in the summer, they're probably all dead. So we've got to get really good quality probiotics. And the reason why I love Be Regular is because this product has 8 billion bifidobacterium, the really good probiotic, and it's stable. We know this because Health Canada requires you to test how many are going to be there at expiry. So again, I'm just going to reiterate this for you. So prebiotics are great because they get all the good guys in your gut in volume that you need. And having low prebiotics and probiotics is linked to obesity, inflammation, Alzheimer's disease, reduction in vitamin consumption, poor immune function, and a crummy metabolism as well. And for those of you who used to know me, we had Regular Girl, and Be Regular is the identical formula. And if you're on a weight loss program, just to give you a quick overview, 2 grams of Be Regular could result in a reduction in hunger and food cravings. It decreased meal snacking. At a dose of 10 grams, which would be 2 scoops, they found that your blood glucose after eating a meal dropped. It also reduced cholesterol. This is such an easy product to take every single day. And I even have it on my desk because this is something I use every day. And this is a poop chart. You can get a copy if you want at the end of the event. Just to give you an idea of what your bowel movements should look like. And you should be having one 12-inch bowel movement a day that really looks like type 4. And if you're not having one 12-inch bowel movement a day, you should have 3 4-inch ones. And now you're going to check them out because you really want them to sit in that type 3, type 4 area. And anything on the other 2 sides is giving you a very good indicator that your health problems may be really related to what is going on in your gut. And this is a great article. You can find it on the internet. It's from the New Scientist. It's called Food for Thought, and it's about eating your way to dementia. And anybody who is living in Canada, who is Caucasian in particular, should care about this because our rates of Alzheimer's disease and dementia are just skyrocketing. So let's talk about food because it all starts with our food. You want to have dark colored fruits and vegetables. That's what you want to eat. Nuts and seeds, good quality spices, beans and lentils, things like that. But choose the darkest colored foods. Salmon is fantastic. Make sure you buy wild. And you want to have a variety. So shake it up. Blueberries are the best fruit you can consume. So to eat them every day in the summer when they're fresh, and in the winter you can buy them organic and frozen. And then you want to have good fats. Do not buy low fat, no fat foods. If you notice, the carbohydrate count goes up when you buy 0 fat foods. That's because there's no more fat. The difference is made up in the carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are sugars. And so you definitely want to eat good fat products. So fish, nuts, seeds, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil. Make sure it's actually olive oil because there's a lot of adulteration. And the little blue flower is for borage oil, which is another fatty acid I'm going to talk about. Butter is better than margarine. Don't buy light, 0 fat, low fat, no fat. And when you go to buy your yogurt, make sure it's actually got probiotics in it. And then buy the 3.5% or the organic Greek yogurts. Let's outsmart cancer. Remember, every minute of every day, your body has cancer cells floating around, potential cancer cells that your immune system is seeking, recognizing, and destroying. 1 teaspoon of white sugar will shut off your immune fighting cells that fight cancer for 4 to 6 hours. They also fight viruses and bacteria. So you want to keep your sugar consumption down. In order to outsmart cancer, you also want to keep your body fat level down. So losing weight is important. Take vitamin D3 every single day. It is the one thing that has been proven without a doubt to prevent colon and breast and prostate cancer. And take a great multivitamin that contains selenium, methionine, vitamins A, C, E, and zinc. And then get some CoQ10, which is a fantastic cancer fighter, especially for breast cancer. And use Be Regular Probiotic daily to keep your gut healthy so that you do not have this dysbiosis going on that leads to more disease. Stress is a leading killer. Why? Well, when you're under stress, your cortisol levels go up. Cortisol is your stress hormone. On the flip side, your DHEA drops. And when cortisol goes up and DHEA drops, DHEA is your anti-aging hormone. It is the key to living a long lifespan. You can go have a DHEAS test at the doctor's office. You want it to be in mid-range. And we know that as you get older, your DHEA drops. And the lower your DHEA, the more infections you get, the more risk of pneumonia, the more inflammation you have. So we want to keep that DHEA up there. DHEA is a hormone and it's prescribed by the doctor, but thankfully you don't have to take the hormone because Moducare, which is an over-the-counter natural product, was shown in clinical studies to lower your cortisol and bring your DHEA up naturally. It's about the seesaw going on. So too much cortisol, stress hormone, DHEA drops. When your DHEA drops, you do not fight cancer as well, you do not fight viral infections, and you get a ton of inflammation. So what goes on when this imbalance with your cortisol to DHEA occurs? You get more inflammation, you get more osteoporosis and osteoarthritis, heart disease, you get poor virus and bacteria fighting abilities, you get exhausted adrenals, so you have no ability to fight stress. You also get gut problems because you get leaky gut. So when you have leaky gut, undigested food particles end up in your bloodstream, causing tons of inflammation and pain and allergies and asthma and other symptoms. When you are under a lot of stress, your blood pressure goes up. As well, allergies are a problem. So how do you fix that? The product is called Moducare, and you take 3 capsules a day. Moducare's been around for a very, very long time. I wrote my very first book on the immune system back in 1998, and I was so impressed at that point with the multitudes of studies that Moducare had done way back then. Osteoporosis, we've got to talk about osteoporosis. Now they call it immunoporosis. They know that osteoporosis is caused by an immune reaction where you have too much inflammation. Again, your cortisol got jacked up, and who is not stressed? I mean, we're all dealing with stress every single day, driving in traffic, trying to feed our families, listening to things about tariffs, scary things on the news every day. This is creating tons of stress in our body. And now we know that when you're under a lot of stress, all these inflammatory factors are sent out by your immune system, which suck all the minerals out of your bones, which is why, we see this inflammatory thing going on. So 1 in 3 women will develop osteoporosis, 1 in 5 men. Of those that have a hip fracture, 20% will die as a direct result of their hip fracture. That is just terrible. The 1-year death rate after a hip fracture is 15% in women and 22% in men. So whoever thought osteoporosis was a disease that could kill you? And young women are developing osteopenia. we used to have this machine that my company owned, and we would go to health food stores and measure people's bone density. And moms and daughters would come, and the daughters would have worse bones than the mothers. So diet, stress, inflammation, these things are all linked to bone loss. And this is a good image to show you. So if you are losing your height, so here is a woman at the beginning on the left-hand side who doesn't have osteoporosis. As she slowly develops osteoporosis, she's getting the slump back. And then when she has osteoporosis, she has this big hump up near her shoulders, which makes it very difficult to fit clothes, but it's a good indicator that you're losing bone. And osteoporosis can be quite deadly. So what do you take? Well, we're going to talk about three things, but vitamin D3, and you can buy a vitamin D3 product that also has K2. The kind of vitamin K2 is called MK7, and this unlocks the door and lets calcium and other bone nutrients into the bones and then locks them in there. If you don't have enough D3 and enough K2, doesn't matter how much calcium you eat, it'll never get into your bones and stay there. And then your bones are made up almost entirely of collagen. So the stronger your bone, the more interconnected your collagen is. As your bone starts to develop osteoporosis, the collagen all falls apart and becomes fractured. And so really, calcium isn't going to do a darn thing for your bones, but collagen will. The more collagen you have, the higher your collagen rates, the stronger your bones. And so most women are taking collagen for their skin, which is fantastic, but you are also getting the benefit of building nice, strong bones by the collagen that you take. And my favorite collagen is marine collagen. I do not like the bovine collagens. They're made from cowhide. Basically, they just pulverize and dry up the cowhide and feed it to you. I like the marine collagen, especially the French ones. They're very, very good quality. And I also love BioSil orthosilicic acid. So those are the two. You can write them down because I know 20 people are going to email me and say, what did you say to take for bones? And this is also fantastic for thicker hair, faster growing hair, strong nails, smooth skin. But I'm talking specifically right now about getting nice, strong bones. And receding gums is the earliest warning sign that you are starting to get osteoporosis. Weight-bearing exercise is key. So you want to get in at least 10,000 steps a day. You can skip, always climb the stairs. You can wear Velcro weights on your wrists and ankles when you're at home. Anything and everything to get weight bearing on your bones. Magnesium is more important than calcium, and you want the right kind. So you want magnesium glycinate or magnesium bisglycinate, and it's underneath the heading if you want to see how to write it down. You need at least 100 milligrams a day of magnesium bisglycinate. Magnesium glycinate is the same thing. And take it before bedtime because it also helps to calm you down for sleep. But it's just the most fantastic mineral to take. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease is the #1 killer. 34% of all deaths in women and 32% of all deaths in men last year were due to cardiovascular disease. Often the first sign of a heart attack is death. You do not even have to have elevated cholesterol or blood pressure. 50% of people who have a heart attack have normal blood pressure and normal cholesterol levels. So why are we getting this? It's called inflammation, inflammation, inflammation. And heart disease rates triple in women after menopause due to the high inflammation in the body. And we talk more about breast cancer. 1 in 30 women die from breast cancer. 1 in 3 women die from heart disease. And often we don't go to the hospital. We're like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't want to bother anybody. So inflammation is the new view. Why is this happening? Inflammation fuels the development and progression of hardening of the arteries. Everyone should have a calcium score. If the government won't pay for it, go pay for it yourself. So you can find out how much plaque you have attached to the walls of your arteries. And the LDL cholesterol is the lousy one. It's the one that triggers inflammation. So you want to have that number lower. It's not the total number. You know, people say, oh, my cholesterol's 6. Well, if your good cholesterol made up the majority of that, your HDL, which I call the happy, healthy cholesterol for the H, if you had more HDL to LDL, that would be okay. But inflammation causes plaque on the artery walls to rupture and form clots. And so you want to have a test. Here's another time to write it down, called CRP. And that is for C reactive protein. It tells you how much inflammation you have going on in the body. The blood test is called HS-CRP, and that stands for a highly specific CRP test. So what does that test mean? Well, you can get it anywhere in Canada, covered by medical. It's not something you have to pay for. And CRP is produced in the liver during an inflammatory response. It's a protein, and it measures how poorly your body is repairing itself. Those with a CRP above 3 have a risk of heart attack or stroke 8 times higher than those that have a CRP less than 0.5. So you want to have a low CRP. Those with a high CRP have triple the risk of developing colon cancer and 4 times the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So you want to go and get your CRP tested, and you want it to be less than 0.5. So if it's over 3, that means extreme danger. And I've seen people with a CRP of 15. And don't freak out. We can get it down. We can get it down using nutrients, weight loss, and lifestyle changes. Here's the next test that you want to have. You want to have the hemoglobin A1C, and hemoglobin A1C tells you how much sugar is attached to your hemoglobin, but it's a predictor of lifespan. So if you were going to an anti-aging doctor, they would do a hemoglobin A1C to see how long you're going to live. So we know that those with a hemoglobin A1C below 5% or lower have a 99% chance of living 10 years, even if they are 80 years old. Those with a hemoglobin A1C over 7%, you have a 20% chance of living 10 years. And hemoglobin A1C changes a decade before you die. That is why we call it a predictor of how long you're going to live. So you want to have your hemoglobin A1C less than 5%. This is interesting because you want your CRP below 0.5%. You want your hemoglobin A1C less than 5%. You want your cholesterol below 5. So 5 is the magic number. And how do you keep your hemoglobin A1C low? You change your diet. You eat a lot of vegetables, good healthy fats. You walk, you do 10,000 steps a day, and you take B regular because it also helps to lower this. Okay, we're back to the seesaw. When cortisol goes up, your DHEA drops. What happens? Elevated CRP, elevated hemoglobin A1C, increased risk of dementia, increased cancers, increased diabetes, increased heart disease. On the flip side, you get memory decline, confusion, shorter lifespan, and rapid aging. That's why some people look super young at 60 and some people look super old. So how do you lower CRP? You take fish oil, 2,400 milligrams a day. And I take 4,000 milligrams of fish oil a day. I can notice a huge difference in my joints and my skin. There's 30 times more DHEA in the heart than any other tissue in the body. You can purchase a high DHA fatty acid product. And you can also get vegetarian DHA. So you can find an algae form of DHA. And then you want to eat these specific foods. These have been shown to lower CRP. Garlic, ginger, onions, organic eggs, curcumin or curry spice, cruciferous vegetables. Those are the healing foods. And then you want magnesium bisglycinate because it also lowers CRP. And for those of you, we do have the presentation that gets sent out to you as well, so you can look at all of this. And if you sign up for my newsletter, when you confirm it, because it has an opt-in option, you get my 8-week eating plan sent to you that was used in the clinical study for weight loss. Then this is cholesterol. As I said earlier, cholesterol gets a really bad rap. You know, you need cholesterol. Cholesterol is your patch and repair in the body. So it's a good guy, and it's really been vilified. And I know that the doctors like it to be less than 5. But the key is not so much less than 5. It's the ratio between your good, and the good starts with H, happy, healthy cholesterol, HDL, and you want the lousy, the LDL, to be low. That's the key. And so how do you do that? If you've got elevated cholesterol, there are 2 products, well, 3, that work like a charm to lower cholesterol. And here's the bad news though. If you're drinking a lot of white wine, that raises your cholesterol levels. If you're a sugaraholic and you love sweet stuff, that raises your cholesterol levels. So you want to eat more veg, and these nutrients will help. I like citronol, red yeast rice, and coenzyme Q10, and you can find them go on any of the online stores. They all sell them, and you can have it delivered to your house. And the heart nutrients, in addition to those, if you have high cholesterol, are fish oil, omega-3s, and CoQ10. You want B vitamins, you want magnesium glycinate, and the fish oil. And if you're veggie, if you're a vegetarian, then you want the DHA on its own. But if you're getting fish oil, you're getting EPA and DHA together. Let's talk about skin. And this is the same woman. They just photo enhanced her aging. This is what she's going to look like if she doesn't do anything to her skin over time. Why does our skin age? And why does some people's skin age and other people's doesn't? Well, collagen decline is a big one. So we've already talked about how to solve that. BioSil and marine collagen supplements. When you make a turkey or a roast and you leave the pan and it all congeals, that's the collagen. Eat it. That's the good stuff. Make a sauce with it or something because it's good for you. Sun damage. Every sunburn you get ages your skin, and maybe not when you got the sunburn, but later on in your life. That causes massive collagen breakdown. So collagen in your skin should be tightly knit. Every sunburn you have, it gets wider and wider and wider. So don't burn your skin. Inflammation also causes massive wrinkling and fatty acid deficiencies. Menopause is the worst time. In the first 5 years after menopause, the word menopause means 1 year with no periods. Women lose 30% of their collagen. Now, this is if you're not taking collagen supplements or taking BioSil, the products that have really good science behind them. Another thing that happens is that menopause women can no longer make GLA from their food. And GLA makes your skin glow. It gives you that dewy, moist, soft look that you had when you were 20. And age spots are due to slow turnover in the skin. At 50, it takes a month to a month and a half for your skin cells to turn over. So of course you want to speed that all up. So this little program is my skin reversing program. And you can have IPL treatments, which is where they use light to enhance collagen production in the skin. And it's not a laser, it's light, so it doesn't burn your skin. I like BioSil, and you do 10 drops a day, or you take 2 capsules, and I take it every single day. I even have it on my desk somewhere here. And then use GLA, which comes in capsules or oil, and collagen 2,000 milligrams a day at a minimum. You can go up from there. And then a daily multivitamin with minerals. Those are the kinds of things that you would take every day. And of course, the BioSil is also good for your bones, your nails, and your hair. GLA is an incredible fatty acid. It's actually grown in Canada. Borage plants, this little blue flower on the plant is grown here, and it has super high concentration of GLA. And so you can look for a GLA supplement, preferably made in Canada here. And GLA has been found to do some other cool things as well. It is great for controlling inflammation. It is used for breast pain. It also works on hot flashes at night. It can be used along with tamoxifen for breast cancer treatment. For a while there in the UK, they were wearing the little blue flower because of the work showing that it was great along with drugs for breast cancer treatment. It works for painful periods, but it is a superstar for your skin for acne, eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, and rashes. So it's one of those fatty acids that's just lovely for your skin. And vitamin D3, this will be my final slide, and then I'll answer some of your questions. So vitamin D3 is the only vitamin that acts like a hormone in the body. It's for your bones, your brain, for diabetes, for cancer. As I said earlier, every single person needs to take it to prevent breast and colon cancer. It's needed to make thyroid hormone. And that's why in Canada, so anywhere north of, say, Wyoming, we don't get enough sunshine. And so we don't make vitamin D on our skin. You need to be 20 minutes a day naked in full sun to make enough vitamin D, because vitamin D is made on bare skin. So if you're not 20 minutes naked every day in the sunshine, then you better be taking a vitamin D supplement. And if you have, we have the highest rates of low thyroid in northern countries, and that's because we don't get enough vitamin D. And it is the cheapest supplement out there, and it has the most profound effect in the body. So how much do you take? Well, the old dose, according to Health Canada, was 1,000 IUs. They finally increased the dose. Health Canada's recommended dose is 2,500 IUs for adults and 1,000 IUs for kids. So your kids should be on it too. Let's prevent all these horrible things from happening to them. So in the summer, take 2,500 IUs per day. But in the winter, when we are covered with a parka and gloves and mitts and a toque, you've got to take 5,000 IUs a day. And people are like, 5,000? If you had MS, your doctor would put you on upwards of 20 to 50,000 IUs. So 5,000 is not an extreme dose. And I take 5,000 IUs every day. I take these little drops, and there's lots of methods that you can take them. So the moral of this story is keep your weight under control, your blood sugar and insulin balanced. You want a normal CRP. You want a hemoglobin A1C below 5. That's what you want. That is a predictor of lifespan. And my recommendation is you pick March, you go to the doctor, you get all these tests done, and every March you go and get the same tests done for the rest of your life, and get a copy of your blood tests and put them in your own home health medical file, and you can see how you're doing. This is what we do when we do anti-aging programs. So my website, because I sold my company, Lorna Vanderheg Health Solutions, to Jameson a long time ago, I have a new website called lornahealth.com, and you can email me at info@lornahealth.com. My daughter's company is KidStar Nutrients, and they sell Moducare and B Regular and vitamin D and the best iron supplement in the world. And if you go to KidStar Nutrients, they will give you 20% off. You use the code FAB20. And when you sign up under Lorna Health for my newsletter, you get my 8-week eating plan. And I can guarantee you, you will lose weight on that plan and you will not be hungry. So, and you don't have to buy funky food. And as soon as I get the Lipiturm product in the marketplace, I will send you an email. Now I'm going to answer a whole pile of questions because everybody's been very busy. So let me go back to the beginning so that I don't miss anyone. Okay. So the first question is, what are my thoughts on HRT? There's so much misinformation in the media. They keep saying it's safe. And I'm like, I don't know why they think it's so safe. Before you go on HRT, there is a whole list of diagnostic tests that you should have before you go on them. And I'm here to tell you that you cannot tell the difference between a woman at 70 who's been on hormones for a decade to a woman who never took them. And when you go on HRT, you have to be monitored. And there is no one size fits all. There's one area in Ontario, when I go there to talk, every single woman is on the identical program. That completely is wrong. Every one of us is very different. Not everybody does well. I did a whole DNA test with the DNA company to find out what my hormone pathways look like. I'm somebody who could take hormones and they wouldn't hurt me because I have a great detoxification system. I detox hormones properly. But what happens in someone who doesn't, who takes estrogen and it builds up in their body, and or they take progesterone and the next thing you know, their estrogen levels are off the map because progesterone is a beginner hormone. Progesterone is used to make testosterone and estrogen. And so these things have to be monitored, and not everyone feels great on them. A lot of women gain a pile of weight. They go on these estro patches and they stick them on their bellies and their hips, and the next thing they're all gaining weight. So do I like hormones? Sure, in some cases. I think if you're not sleeping and you have horrific insomnia, taking prometrium at bedtime could help you. But I would be monitoring you to make sure that your other hormones don't get out of whack, that you don't get breast pain. So they're not something that you can just go and take the same thing for everyone. And I love estriol cream. If you have vaginal dryness or thinning of the vaginal wall, it's safe, doesn't cause cancer, it does not convert into the bad estrogen. But if they give you Premarin cream or estradiol cream for your vaginal problem, that's not good. So I recommend you read my book, A Smart Woman's Guide to Hormones, because there's a lot more to this story than what is being told to people. And I think that good doctors know how to prescribe it, what to prescribe, and ask for estriol. And if you're looking for something to use vaginally, always ask for estriol. And if they put a D in it, estradiol, don't use it. So and you're welcome to send me your very specific question and I will help you there. Why are skin tags formed? Too much blood sugar. So this is an indicator that you are not utilizing insulin well, that you're not eating the right foods, and that's why you get the skin tags. They're actually an early warning sign that you have blood sugar dysregulation. Where do we get a glucose monitor in Canada without having diabetes? Well, I live in Vancouver and I just went and bought the Libra 2 at the pharmacy. I just went and got it. So it was simple. It was about $127, I think. I think you can buy them online as well. But your doctor can also prescribe it. Say, I want to know what's going on with my blood sugar. And especially for those women who are waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning with feelings of panic or anxiety or dizziness. Viral infection going rampant at the skin level. Yeah, so there are several different types of skin infections that we get. I love Celadrin cream. I don't know if you can find it anymore, but it works like a charm. I would get a sample done, so have the doctor do a skin swab so you can find out what kind of skin problem you have so that you get the directed treatment, because a lot of the skin problems we have are fungal. They're not viral. How much does genetic makeup play in diabetes and insulin resistance? Oh, that's a great question. If your parents have diabetes, do not eat like them. Don't eat anything like them, because The reason why they got type 2 diabetes is because the way they eat. So whatever we do, don't eat like our parents. And a lot of what we think is genetic actually is conditions running in families, especially on the female line, because your mom taught you how to eat. You're going to teach your daughters how to eat. They're going to teach their daughters how to eat. So if your family has some kind of condition that's associated with diet and exercise, don't eat like them. So it's very small amount that is genetically related. How do we get rid of skin tags if we already have them? You can have them burned off. You can have them, I mean, they have these skin tag removal kits. Well, I've never found them to work, but maybe they do, but go have them lasered off and then completely change your diet so they don't come back. I like the Libra too. That's what I've been using. The app was easy. So I'm right-handed. You put the monitor on your left arm right here, and then you take your phone like this and you put it up against, and then it tells you what your blood sugar number is. And I can tell you, I thought avocados were good for me, but when I eat an avocado, my blood sugar goes crazy. So what I thought was good was not good. And when I wake up at 2:30 in the morning panicking, it's because my blood sugar has plummeted and the monitor tells me, beep, beep, you're in the danger zone. So it's so incredibly interesting, especially when you write down what you eat. It's only wear it for 2 weeks, 14 days, and then it doesn't work anymore. So for 2 weeks, just write down everything you eat and wear the thing. What is the name of the prebiotic? Guar, G-U-A-R. So in B regular, which is right here on my desk, because then I remember to take it every day, it has guar fiber. And no gas, no bloating, makes your bowel movements beautiful, and your skin starts to glow. And if someone has had, if you have like a disease condition, you might want to email me, because I don't like to answer the questions in public in case somebody gets the wrong idea. You don't have to keep B regular in the fridge. No, I leave it on my desk. Any recommendation for an ulcer? Well, hopefully the doctor checked you for H. pylori. And if you're H. pylori, which is a bacteria positive, then you go on a drug regimen. But then we use things like pomegranate and gum mastic and other things. So you can email me that and I'll give you the protocol. You can put B regular in hot water, but I fill up my big water bottle and just throw it in there. And then I also put my collagen powder in there too, which also goes clear, and drink that throughout the day. Oh, I gave you the wrong information. The staff say no, it'll kill the probiotic. So that was a bad idea to put it in tea. Oh, mom's suffering with sleep deprivation. Probably my daughter should answer that, because I don't think she slept for 7 straight years. Oh, it's hard. It's just so incredibly hard to have kids that don't sleep at night. If you have IBS, I would start with 1/4 of a scoop of B regular and then go to a half, slowly go up, and drink lots of water. You don't have to drink lots of water, but I would. I'm not a fan of grapeseed oil. You want to use extra virgin olive oil, and also you could use avocado oil would be another one. You can use coconut oil. That's another good one. And, one of the things I take, my mom died of Alzheimer's. So this is an MCT oil that I take every day, like a teaspoon of it, which is supposed to be good for your brain, keep your brain nice and smart. What is the mid-range number for DHEA? I can't remember, but when you get your results, there'll be a range. Everybody should read their own test results. You don't need to be a doctor to read them. So look at the test result and you want to be in the middle. That would be the best. You can find B regular and Moducare at KidStar. And would Moducare be better than AdrenaSmart? For raising DHEA, Moducare is the best thing. So if you're trying to get your DHEA level up, absolutely use Moducare. And let me think of what else we got here. Do you buy D3 with K2? Yes. Lots and lots of companies do D3 with K2. And yes, my staff are right. I like BioSil, and I love BioSil because now they have these teeny tiny little capsules that are so easy to swallow. What is the goal of getting your hemoglobin A1C down? It gets you out of diabetic range. It gets you out of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome starts with elevated blood sugar and insulin. Then you get elevated cholesterol. Then you get elevated triglycerides, and it just sends you down this slippery slope. Look, women, we have these tiny little arteries, way smaller than men. If they get clogged up, we're in trouble. So we got to start earlier taking care of ourselves. Is magnesium citrate as beneficial as magnesium glycinate? No. Magnesium citrate's a laxative. So, but what you want is something that's going to get in your brain and your bones. 300 reactions in the body require magnesium. So magnesium citrate causes all the water in your body to flush into your colon, to flush all the waste out, which is a good brand of omega-3s. I always say to people, especially women, buy an omega-3 you can swallow, because some of them are like suppositories. You're never going to take them. The fish oil basically comes from a few companies in the world. So just buy one you can actually swallow. Red light therapy is fantastic. And I have that face mask thing you may have seen on my social media. I wear it at work every day. People always laugh, but red light therapy is so helpful. No, it will not create vitamin D. You have to be in the sun, full spectrum light, to create vitamin D on your whole body. So you've got to take a vitamin D supplement, especially in the winter. What is DHA? DHA is a fatty acid. So in fish oil, you have EPA and then you have DHA. DHEA is different. That's a hormone. That's what you use as that's an anti-aging hormone in the body. Well, the thing is, if you're eating dried fruit, that is a lot of sugar. So the other day it was funny because I was thinking to myself, I should go find out how many calories are in 6 cashews. It was like 120. So if you're on a 1,500 calorie a day diet and you eat, 50 cashews, you're in trouble. So you don't want to consume a lot of dry fruit. My feeling is with vitamin D3, you need to look at how many IUs you're taking. So you want 2,500 IUs in the summer and 5,000 IUs in the winter. So that's how you decide. If your blood sugars are higher but not type 2 diabetes yet, does berberine help? Yeah, it can help. Make sure you get the right berberine because it's very hard on the liver. And so if you have any kind of liver enzyme issues, you probably want to go have a liver enzyme test at the doctor's office. The fastest way to change your blood sugar is change the way you eat. That's the fastest way. How do I test blood sugars? Pharmacist says the free monitors need a GP referral. You can buy the monitors online. So, and get your GP to refer it. Say you want to know. There's nothing wrong with learning about your body. And that would be the best way. Otherwise, you got to go to your doctor and get a blood test for hemoglobin A1C. And hemoglobin A1C tells you about your blood sugar. So that's the blood test that's free. The 24-hour blood glucose monitors, those are phenomenal because they're going to tell you what you're eating is making you fat. That's what's going to happen. I battle cellulite. Oh, me too. It's a terrible problem. And, it's even a thin woman's problem. So, I mean, really, it's about lymphatic drainage. So buy yourself a rebounder. It's that little trampoline, stick it in front of the TV and bounce, and then do dry brushing. So you start at the tips of your toes and you brush towards your heart all the way up, and do that before you get in the shower every day, or do it every other day if you only have a shower every other day. Coconut oil down there is not good. I really don't recommend it. You want to get a super clean personal lubricant before you use coconut oil in the vagina. And for a lot of women, and you've got to make sure if you're using coconut oil, it better be really, really good coconut oil. I eat a lot of fish. You want to find out if you've got super high level of omega-3s in your body, then get yourself a omega-3 test. It's a little finger prick test. You just pop your finger and put a drop of blood on these cards, and you can find out. What prebiotic fiber do you recommend for someone who's sensitive to guar? I haven't really met anybody who's sensitive to it. So what would I recommend? Blueberries. That's probably a good way to elevate your prebiotics. Take a teaspoon of sauerkraut every day, lactic acid fermented sauerkraut. How do I reduce blood pressure? Walk, 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 and get your weight down. If you're not overweight, do a lot of walking. It's probably the best way. And take magnesium bisglycinate and fish oil as well. Okay, how much K2? They're sold together, and I can't remember how much. One of the KidStar people might know because I think they sell K2. What is the best time of day to take Be Regular and Moducare? Moducare should be taken on an empty stomach. So I take 2 when I first wake up, or 2 at bedtime, and 1 when I get up in the morning, because I know I'm not going to be eating around that time. You can take Be Regular any time of the day. And yes, I think it would be awesome if every woman got a DEXA at 20, another one at 40, and in BC they were going to pay for one at 65, and now it's 70. So, but it's not that expensive to have one. I think I looked the other day because I was going to go have one. It was I think it was $275 to have a DEXA, where they look at everything. Anyways, I think we're almost done. A lot of people want to say goodbye. It was awesome to have you all. And if you want to have the 8-week eating plan, just sign up for my newsletter and it'll get sent to you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night.